To see the entire 60-minute video, go to Yahoo Video and search Robert Morey on their homepage. These links will also get you there. www.putfile.com/lieutenantcolumbo/media or saintaugustinian.blogspot.com and look for important Dr. Robert A. Morey links.
Welcome to Tales of the Strange and Weird. We're going to take an analysis of Truth Seeker Bob audio cassettes and listen to some choice excerpts. On January 22nd, 1994, on Truth Seeker Bob's Truth Seekers radio show, an interesting dialogue occurred between Truth Seeker Bob and a Roman Catholic apologist caller. The following is that dialogue.
With that, we want to go to James in Portland, Oregon. James, welcome to Truth Seekers.
Hello, Mr. Morey. It's good to speak to you. I would like to comment on a series of cassettes that I just received from you on Roman Catholicism. One of the comments you make on 2 of the 3 cassettes...
Well, let's first get some perimeters. Are you a Roman Catholic yourself?
Yes, indeed. And I'm also of Scottish descent.
Now what is this special... is that some sort of special twink or something there?
Uh-huh. Because in 2 of the 3 cassettes, you refer to Mary, Queen of Scots, as Bloody Mary.
Oh, yeah, that was a mistake.
Oh, yeah. Agreed.
Hello? Hello, James?
Yes.
Okay.
It was a mistake. Yeah, definitely. The wrong Mary altogether.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted you to acknowledge that. I guess that's... I don't know whose phone that is, but yeah, you made some other mistakes, too. You mentioned... Ridley and Cooper and Kramer as men that were executed by Mary, but there was no Kramer. I think you're speaking of Cranmer?
Cranmer, yes.
Yeah.
See, you have to put an M there. You know, when you're speaking and you depart from your notes and you're extemporaneous, at times you can get a little confused. That happens with anyone. That's why I always tell people, go by what I write when I have a chance to do the documentations and the footnotes, things of that nature. But that happens to anyone. Yeah, sure.
Sure. Some of the documentation I can already give is I can prove that you, and by your own admission, sir, you've already admitted that you have erred grievously in
grievously?
Mary Stuart and Mary Tudor and Bloody Mary.
Grievously?
Well, when you're
no, I've looked into the issue of the Inquisition.
Being executed by Mary, Queen of Scots, for their Protestant belief, and you're so wrong. You don't even have the right people. The only thing they had in common is they were Catholic and they were named Mary, and they were both rightful queens of England. That's the only thing they had. Well, they were related to Elizabeth. But,
yeah.
But so
it was a common mistake. So I don't see that has anything to do with the history of the Inquisition.
But you've admitted that your research is shoddy because you've confused the wrong Mary.
No. This is what is in logic called taking the attributes of a part and trying to apply it to the whole. That someone speaking extemporaneous right off the top of their head could have a slip of the tongue has nothing to do with whether or not when they do research and they can... James, it has nothing logically to do with that. Nothing.
So it is interesting to note that Truth Seeker Bob's main defense for his error is that he was speaking extemporaneously.
Some of you remember the movie that came out in a book called Mary, Queen of Scots. And they describe this sweet, sweet girl. In history, she's known as Bloody Mary.
We will now let the listening audience find out if Truth Seeker Bob's points of history have changed any with the passage of an entire year. What you're about to hear now is tape number 2 in Truth Seeker Bob's Roman Catholicism audio series, Reformation versus Catholicism, REF Catalog B74, Roman Catholic History. And this lecture by Truth Seeker Bob was given on October the 30th, 1988, a full year later. Is this extemporaneous speaking and mistakes or slips of the tongue? Here we go.
And the confusion, of course, has reached proportions so that history is in the process of being rewritten. Bloody Mary is now known as Mary, Queen of the Scots, and she was a delightful woman. They failed to mention how many people she put to the torch, how many people whose blood she was shed. She wasn't called Bloody Mary for several centuries because it was her favorite cocktail given at the bar. Bloody Mary, the cocktail drink, is called Bloody Mary in honor of a woman who, during her brief time on the throne, managed to see thousands of people put to death for no other reason than they had Bibles and confessed Jesus Christ as their personal Lord and Savior.
The point here is not so much that Truth Seeker Bob had confused two completely different Marys in his lecture series, but his rationalization. Notice that the two lectures where the mistake was made were 1 year apart, 1987 and 1988, meaning this was more than a simple extemporaneous mistake. Couple this fact with the date in which Morey was caught on this point, January 22nd, 1994, and the listener will find that Morey was selling these Roman Catholicism tapes to the public for 6 or 7 years without correction. It is unclear as to when Morey discovered that the two Marys were not the same. It is interesting also to note that as soon as this particular radio broadcast was over, Debbie Stevens, wife of Mike Stevens, REF radio director for Truth Seekers, called Larry Wessels, then holding all REF master audio cassettes, and told him to remaster the Reformation versus Catholicism tape series, editing out the references to Bloody Mary and Mary, Queen of Scots. Mrs. Stevens was greatly concerned that Morey's credibility might be damaged if the editing were not done.
Robert Morey, who has claimed in his ministry mailings that he held a degree from Faith Theological Seminary, Gujranwala, Pakistan, has had this supposed degree revoked by the same institute. The certificate of cancellation is seen here, and the school can be contacted for more information. Morey claims in newsletters that he has mailed out by the thousands nationwide during different years that the Wessel brothers of Texas had embezzled and stolen large sums of money from his ministry, and therefore he needs supporters to send him as much money as they can to make up for this. Morey has consistently made these claims about the Wessels brothers, who he, in more recent years, refers to as the Russell brothers of Texas. These claims have been made by national mailings, word of mouth, fax, in his church, at national conferences, and even on his national radio show over many years. Documentation and witness testimonies indicate Morey has claimed the Wessels have stolen anywhere from $30,000 to as much as $150,000. Instead of turning the Wessels over to law enforcement officials for criminal prosecution, Morey has chosen to seek those who will believe his Wessels-Russell Brothers of Texas story in order to secure sympathy and financial support. If Morey's claims about the Wessels and or Russell brothers are untrue, then Morey is telling false stories in order to obtain money from the public. If you or someone you know has heard this story, or more importantly, if you have actually given money to Robert Morey as a result of this story, please contact us right away. Please contact Larry Wessels, Post Office Box 144441, Austin, Texas 78714, or call 512-218-8022 and leave a message. And now for a final word from Truth Seeker Robert Morey.
David, welcome to Truth Seekers.
Hello, Dr. Morey. How are you?
I'm doing fine, having more fun than is legal.